Or is there a name?
My project is called think2earn.
That's right. Yeah. Okay, cool.
Yep, exactly.
Okay, it seems like we are live. So welcome, Carol. Good to have you here for DIAC a Day. It's our first session of DIAC a Day, and just a quick intro into why we are having this series. So 2 years ago, Vitalik wrote an amazing essay on my techno-optimism, and since then, there's been a huge movement developing around what it is and having people building in the space. They were already building in the space, but now there's kind of an identity around these projects and builders that are doing things that promote the defensive, the decentralized, the democratic, and the differential. So every time we'll talk a little bit about what DIAC is and what actually create awareness around how builders can build more in the DIAC space. But the point of these sessions is just to have quick, short intros every day with new builders that are building in the space and grow understanding of the space, get to know the builders that are in it, and yeah, just have good chats. So welcome, Carol. Great to have you from think2earn. Yeah, if you can
Thank
just
you very
do a
much.
quick
Appreciate you hosting
introduction.
this. Cool. So basically, I'm building on a project. I'm Carol. I'm from Romania. I'm yeah, in this space deeply, let's say for 1 year, and I'm building this project called think2earn. I'm basically focusing on software for non-invasive glucose predictions using some open hardware device that I contracted manufacture with through a collaboration with some professors at Vanderbilt University. So basically, I'm just collecting data for myself and checking whether it's possible to check changes in concentration of substances related to glucose. So that's kind of the high-level summary.
Okay. Can you explain that for a 5-year-old?
For a 5-year-old, that's cool. That's actually difficult, but let's say that you see some colors, and then when you combine them, some different colors emerge, and then you want to see how much of which color you had. So there's this technique called spectromat. Like basically, you look at how concentrated your red and your blue is to make your green, for example. And like kind of the same principle, some people can put some stuff on your body, and then they can see the colors in your body, and those colors can refer to how healthy you are. And it's not really colors, it's some different things, but that's kind of what you're measuring. And the point is that if you put on these devices on your body, then you can have more insights on how you feel. And yeah, that's where it's good. I tried it for a 5-year-old, so it's not 1-to-1, but that's roughly it.
Okay. And what is the name think2earn? How does that come in here?
Basically, at one point, I had a wrist injury, and I would have loved to be able to voice type, and I started actually doing that. But then I was thinking it would be so nice to also type using my mind, and I was feeling that it would be also cool for projects to exist that would compensate you for contributing training data to these text-to-speech models. So yeah, I looked at research papers because I was still studying back then. And I saw that there's people actually doing that. And I was like, oh, it would be so cool to get paid just to think about things, to contribute to data sets so you can make, text prediction models. And yeah, that's kind of how it got there, basically. Think to earn money.
Okay. So interesting. So how much do you know about the DX side of things?
So I I'm like roughly familiar. I read My Techno Optimism by Vitalik. I read like Diak 1 year later, and yeah, I participated like in now I'm in Edge City. I participated at some reading sessions, but I don't have a deep historical view on the philosophical dependencies that kind of determine yeah, the idea and the movement. But roughly
Mhm.
like, because I saw like, yeah, if I were to define it or something, I would say that it's basically like a philosophy that offers an alternative to other philosophies that exist, and the other ones kind of encourage let's say building, while not also taking into consideration these aspects that basically this philosophy highlights, like, yeah, stuff that would benefit more individuals than just a few, and would prepare you to be able to face the challenges in this changing world with AI and stuff.
Mhm. Yeah, yeah. So yeah, very interesting definition. I think the way I think about it, it's like how how we accelerate tech in a safe way. And I think what inspired me is that I've always been passionate about like how do we accelerate tech in general, and this kind of put a lens on it of like how do we do that in a way that actually these values that we have of like decentralization and open source, for example, comes into it a lot, and especially in like the brain computer interface space, which you're in, it feels like a very important topic that things are potentially built open source. So just curious to hear, like, are you building open source? How are you thinking about that? Yeah, any thoughts on that side of things?
Yeah, I'm the yeah, basically I'm building everything open source, and it's both because of the philosophy. Like, if you build in the open and you kind of give these things to humanity, there can be more competition, people can pick it up, they can improve, and you actually accelerate the space more than if you just silo things and keep it secret. Obviously this, yeah, encourages competition, maybe makes it harder for you to get a market share or something, but yeah, we don't have a lot of time on earth, you might as well try to advance it. And yeah,
Yeah.
related to open hardware element, I've researched, and there's multiple university initiatives, like basically laboratories making these open hardware designs. And the one that I made, basically, I got to make it because I contacted these authors and I asked them for help with, hey, you published these files, can you please help me make it to do some research? And they were, yeah, extremely kind, and they helped me through, even with bug fixing in the manufacturing process and such. So yeah, basically building open source on top of open hardware, because I think that's how you can effectively, yeah, make things better, quicker for more people.
Mm, yeah, definitely love that approach. How are you, if it's okay to ask, how are you funding yourself and how are you sustaining yourself as a builder, and especially in the open source space?
So yeah. Well, yeah, it comes with benefits and downsides. Like, one amazing benefit that you may not think of it when you're building open, or like I didn't think of it, is that you're gonna build the thing. Some people are gonna see them, and then they might help you. They might offer you insights. They might direct you to other things which can just accelerate the progress. And in terms of funding, I've started working on this project like roughly 1.5 years ago, and I participated at hackathons, won some prizes, but not always. And let's say it's not currently financially sustainable, but I had to kind of think of a good way of doing it. Now I think it's going to be by yeah, becoming self-sustainable by selling hardware for research purposes. And yeah, I applied to grant programs, participated in the Switzerland hackathon. So yeah, I would say that the methods of funding are basically grants and hackathons. And I've been, let's say, trying to raise money, not successfully, maybe because I was not, let's say, fully dedicated and convicted, like convinced of a certain path of doing it.
And when you say trying to raise money, you mean like VCs type money, or what sort of like investor money, or how are you trying to raise?
Yeah, basically I was looking for yeah, I emailed a lot of VCs, people from Meta Cartel, for example, and I only managed to build this hardware with help from the director of Ocean Protocol Foundation. I just reached out to a lot of people on Twitter, and he replied. He said, okay, do this research, make a research proposal, here's some money to actually
Mhm.
manufacture the device. And um sorry, what was the second part
Yeah,
again?
like No, like so it was how have you managed to like fund yourself so far, and like what are you like, because you
Yeah.
said you're trying to raise money, like are you trying to raise from investors
Oh
or
yeah.
more from grants? Okay.
Yeah. I would definitely. So I think it's although I have some evidence that this thing works, and I only started building it because I saw multiple research papers saying that you can do this non-invasive glucose prediction. I still think it's a, let's say, a deep tech thing which costs money, and I wouldn't want to raise this money from my peers because, let's say, I also consider it a high risk investment, and I wouldn't want to,
Mhm.
let's say, burn bridges and like I don't know, use my social capital. So I've been trying to contact VCs and people that have a high risk profile. And
Mhm.
so far, I let's say got in talks to be able to be pitched to VCs if I build with the tech of some certain companies. But I did not
Mm.
do, let's say, a community round or something like that. I, let's say, did not have so far a very clear business and go-to-market strategy.
Mhm. Okay. And to what degree do you feel like open source is helping or hindering in the fundraising process? Do you find it's a challenge, or would you say like it would be easier for you if you were doing it differently, or how are you thinking about it? What's your feedback on the process so far?
Yeah, from like VCs will definitely want the closed hardware. They want you to, well,
Mhm.
they want me to ideally take data from users, resell it to third parties, not really care about the people, let's say. And so this is, let's say, one of the advantages of building in closed source settings is that you can have this, basically silo of data that you can then resell to third parties. But the downside is that, for example, you can't really, build during hackathons. You can't apply to grant programs that require you to build open source, and it's also not personally, philosophically aligned with me because,
Yeah.
I feel that I'm in this space in this humanity because some people contributed open source things like language or I don't know other
Mm.
things. So it just seems weird to me to just try to capture as much property and capital as you can.
Mm. And have you found that investors are open to the open source model or not at all, or is it sort of quite dependent?
Definitely people in crypto in the Ethereum space, they're very open to open source, and I've had friends of mine who are like, hey, I want to buy your device when you raise money, let me know as well. And yeah, I mean, there's upsides and downsides. Biggest upsides
Mhm.
again for me being the ability to share the knowledge with other people and to also make them be part of this, such as
Mm.
competitors or part of your team, or just to show up front what you have, your mission, and then if you want to help, you can, and look exactly where it is. This is the GitHub. These are the files. This is the model training. If you have better
Yeah.
insights on how to do it, please do it. If you can make a business out of it, go do it. Because you. I personally want, more people to have healthcare infrastructure, education, and this is one way to that I think can accelerate that by building open
Yeah.
source, basically.
No, it's very cool to hear that you're so bullish on open source and so positive on the space. I know that like a lot of people find it challenging at times to build open source and still be able to fund themselves, but it sounds like you've got that somewhat under control so far.
Somewhat, definitely somewhat, and not fully. Like,
Yeah.
I just want to now maybe say that I'm very happy that Vitalik now put up this long-term vision of open verifiable hardware. Because last time I was with you and Victor and the rest of the people at Zuzalu Town Hall, like one of my, let's say, pitches was that I would love for the Ethereum Foundation to start funding open hardware just as they do open software, because it's just about hiring some people that have some expertise in microelectronics or electronics, and then you can make some hardware that can provide a lot of value to humanity, like from air quality monitors or air filters to defibrillators or brain computer interfaces. And I feel that basically I'm super glad that there is more attention paid to this topic, and it's only somewhat, and I would love for it to be more than that.
Yeah, absolutely. I totally hear you. And that's, yeah, we're thinking a lot about that at Switzerland and thinking how do we do a better job of funding DIAC and open source. And that's part of the reason for doing this series is also to meet the builders, understand them even better, and like build build for the audience that we want to attract. So we're thinking a lot about it and really appreciate the input and feedback. You almost kind of, I think, answered my next question, which is like, if you could sort of design or like paint the ideal scenario for the ecosystem in terms of funding and what you would fix, like what would you do? But it sounds like maybe that was part of the answer.
But let's say that I will have an even more far-reaching answer when it comes to this, which is we're doing stuff with private capital. And when I read Why I Built Zuzalu by Vitalik, which I also feel is deeply connected with the DIAC movement, he said that I will paraphrase, not quote, that the community of Zuzalu has ambitions which are maybe higher than universities, somewhere between monasteries, but not to solve world politics. And the kind of, let's say, push that I want to do is to say that if we would also manage to create legislation that advances these interests in, whatever country, then you would have much more, capital to use for these purposes. Like, my background is from Romania. I've saw a lot of corruption, and then I saw that if you build better laws, you can diminish from this. And I would love there to be more levels of transparency in government using these technological things that we build, basically.
Yeah, 100%. One of the things that we realized recently was that actually the Swiss government, for example, like mandated that all government software, where possible, within like security parameters, needs to be built open source, which is really cool and interesting, and like could be hopefully a model for other countries going forward. Um, but yeah, like we're really thinking hard right now about how do we design a way of like allocating more capital into the open source and DX space, because like right now you look at like what's happening in the closed source, say AI space, and like hundreds of billions or like even trillions of dollars are going into that side of things. And on the other hand, like that is not necessarily like leading us towards the future we want. So like how do we direct capital towards the future we want, and how do we channel the capital in the right direction that it's allocated towards that future that we really want to be part of. So yeah, I really appreciate you coming on. Carol, is there any like last things that you wanted to share or say? Are there any links that people should check out if they want to check out your work, or where can they go to find you?
So on some final words, let's say, I want to say I'm bullish on governments cooperating with these private initiatives, and I'll give an example. I'm not associated, but I saw that NHS from UK paid Sweatcoin to incentivize people to walk because they calculated that the odds of diabetes will be lower. So it made sense for them to basically pay people to walk, because in the long term, that's productive, or at least those are the arguments that they presented in Parliament. And then in terms of following my work, like on Twitter, I'm at Debate Heroes, and my project is called think2earn BCI. And some links that are not, let's say, associated with me, but I would really want people to look at, kind of to encourage them to build in the spaces. Open FNIRS dot I think org.com. It's basically a repository made by a professor of different open hardware near infrared spectroscopy projects. And another one that I really liked and I'm interested in exploring more is Open Water, which is also an open hardware brain computer interface. And like related to this and doing the builder interviews, the DIACer interviews, I think this is super cool. And basically thank you for giving voice to the Switzers. And very cool. I'm also bullish on Switzerland, but that's kind of, I don't know, in her hand.
Amazing. Thanks, Carol. Yeah, really good to have you. And the good thing about doing these regularly and keeping them short is that we can have you back again soon, I hope. And just like keep updated on the things that you're building and doing. So yeah, stay in touch, and I look forward to chatting again very soon.
Thank you. I would love to join you again. Thank you, Ayla. Thank you, Victor.
Ciao. Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Bye.